All right. So my young people, my young folks, where y'all get an opportunity to step up. And when I talk to young folks about leadership, I want to be very clear. I'll just share a little bit of perspective about my little story for 2 seconds, no, 1 minute, and why I wish somebody would have told me what real leadership looked like when I was a light younger, because I would have realized my potential. So first of all, potential is a present but not yet visible excellence or ability that is yet to be developed. And I'm going to say it again. Potential is a present but not yet visible excellence or ability that is yet to be developed. And all of these incredible young folks on this call have the potential to be leaders. And all leadership is one word: influence. Now, what you've been told is leadership is titles, it's positions, it's seniority, it's those things. Those are I would say those are additives to the root cause of what leadership actually is. But titles, positions, and those things will not last if you do not have influence. So I want to tell you right now that you have influence, that you have the ability to influence. So what I know is from our last call, some folks are really comfortable sharing their experience with law enforcement, good, bad, negative, whatever that is. Some of you are a little more apprehensive, and some of you maybe you feel you don't have the voice to share because you're more here to listen. But what I would tell you is, what have you witnessed? What have you seen? How are you feeling with what you're seeing in our community and in our world today, right? You have a voice. So I want to say that because the rest of this time, the rest of these sessions, this is y'all. Right? We're the adults, the old dusty folks like myself. We're going to sit back and we want to hear y'all, and we're going to listen, and we are going to create solutions based on not only your stories, but your recommendations and what you want to do. And I'll just tell you, I'll go down fighting for y'all because I believe in y'all. And I really wish when I was young, people talked to me like this, because maybe they did. I just don't think I was listening. That's how kind of, ignorant and self-absorbed I was when I was a young person. So again, thank you again. I can't highlight enough, how much I appreciate y'all being on this call with us. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the reins over to Elvia. Elvia, we talked yesterday, sweetie, about this. You have unlimited amount of time. You can talk as long as you want. Don't apologize. Don't feel like you got to stop. Whatever you need, girl, the floor is yours. And Elvia, however you want to take it. I know we spoke yesterday, and you might ask a question. You might have a question. You might not. You might want me to ask the question. Whatever it is, this is your opportunity to share. And what I want the rest of the folks to do on this call, especially for my youth, as you hear Elvia share, just really take the time right now to eliminate all distractions. Right? If you got on 3 other browsers right now, right, and you're searching on the next Jordan release, like, get off that. You see what I'm saying? If you're like, my attendees, if you're over there sending emails, which some of you are doing right now, I know you are. I've seen you do it. Get off the email. Okay? This is and I'm not pointing nobody out because I can't physically see what you're doing, but I would just encourage you to stop what you're doing and just listen in to these stories. So, Elvia, I'm going to push mute and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tyler. First, I want to say thank you so much for being here and taking time of your day to listen to our stories and prepare this event. Like, my heart's beating super fast right now. I don't know why, because every time officers come to school or different events that I'm doing, or I see an officer, I have a tendency to go up and talk to strangers. My friends tell me to stop because it could get dangerous, but I'm a very curious person who just loves meeting new people and talking to people and learning about them and their experiences. And so I do that with officers a lot. And I've honestly had good experience with them. I guess I'll go straight to my stories. I guess my best experience with a police officer or police officers has been back in 2016, a few days before my birthday. Me and a cousin and a family friend went and filed a report for sexual abuse. It was a very hard and traumatic experience for me because I had been sexually abused for 10 years during my youth. And the officers there were really helpful, really kind, and you have to say your testimonies and etc. So it was a really draining day for me, but I was grateful and glad that they were kind and, trying to accommodate for me, for my mother who didn't really speak English, who didn't really know what was going on in the process because she was shocked and I was just overwhelmed. So I was grateful that everything went as smoothly as it could have gone. And then my other experiences have not been the best, and it's sort of been brought up as I've gotten older. A few weeks ago, me and my cousins were just sitting around having a conversation just about our youth and some events that happened that traumatized us more than we had thought at first. When I was like 6 or 7 years old here in Vancouver, Washington, it was Halloween. My family, we were all in the living room, me and my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, watching a movie, having a good old time. And suddenly we just hear a knock on the door, and I was just like, I'm going to go get it. And my mom was like, no, you're going to get scared because it's probably trick-or-treaters and you're a scaredy cat. And I was like, fine. So one of my uncles gets up, and as he's about to open the door, suddenly like police officers just like ram like the door open and just like walk in. And I was a little kid, 7 or 8. My cousins told me their perspective of the story, that they ran into a closet because they were just so scared. It's like, why are these men coming into our house suddenly with no explanation, just like telling the adults? Sorry, I just saw Tyler's comment and that distracted me. So yeah, and so yeah, and they just came in, and I was just confused. We were all, and like my aunts and uncles, like not all of them speak English fluently. So it was a mess. To be honest, a lot of it is blurs because I have a tendency to block off trauma from my youth. But I just remember like my mom holding me in her arms and me coming in and out, and just seeing my uncles on the floor handcuffed, and my mom having like the officers questioning her, and it was just a mess. And ironically, we later found out that there was no reason for them to come into our house because they had gotten the wrong house. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it was supposed to be our neighbors that they were supposed to do, I don't know, criminals next door, and they just got the wrong house. And I'm just like, how could they get the wrong house, especially with so much funding and so many resources they have? Like, how could you make such a big mistake that traumatized not just the adults in our family, but the children? And yeah, that just has left a big impact on me. And like my second experience was something similar. It didn't happen directly to me, but to my aunts and other cousins who we lived next door. It happened when I was like around 10, but this was in Spanaway, Washington, near Tacoma, Washington. So it was like really, really early in the morning. And like my mom gets up because she hears like sirens, a lot of noise happening next door in my aunt's house. Then I get up, and like we're just like, what's going on? But my mom was scared and worried to go next door because there was officers outside. Like, what was going on? And I was just really confused. And I don't know how long afterwards, maybe a few hours, my older cousin, who was 15 at the time, like 15, 14, came crying, her eyes red, holding my baby cousin, who was like 1 or 2 at the time. Both of them just crying. And my cousin, older cousin, she didn't speak English fluently because she had moved back from Mexico. And so she was like, I don't know, like it was like late at night, we suddenly hear noise, and then police officers just coming into my room, and it was a mess. And she was scared, worried. And my little cousin, my baby cousin, she was crying. It was early in the morning, and she was suddenly woken up. And so she wanted her bottle. She needed her food. And so my mom was like, Elvia, we don't have anything here for Emily. You have to go next door and like get her bottle and things. So there I go, 10-year-old Elvia, very confused, scared, worried for my aunts and uncles and cousins, just going next door. So I walk over, super scared because, you know, officers, big, scary. And I'm 5 foot tall. I am 19, 5 foot tall. 10-year-old Elvia was tiny and weak. And so that just made it even more scary. And so I go over and knock on the door because I'm just worried that they'll like pull a gun on me or something and be like, what are you doing here? And so I knock and I'm just like, hi, I just need to pick up my little cousin's like bottle and some clothes. Because, you know, we didn't expect this to happen on such an early day. And so a female officer comes to me and she's like, oh, no, that's fine, honey. And so I walk into the house and like I see my uncle. He was only wearing basketball shorts, like no shirt, because, you know, he was sleeping, and my older male cousins, like handcuffed on the couch. And I just remember asking him like, ¿Qué pasó? Like, what's going on? And I was just like shaking and worried. And my cousins were just like, it's okay. And my uncle, I remember him saying, it's okay, Elvie, it's okay, honey. Just like he was handcuffed on like in the couch, and he was just like trying to reassure me when like I was in the one in danger. It felt like I was in a dangerous, really dangerous situation. So he was like, just go do what you need to do. So I grab the bottle. I see my aunt like explaining something to the officers. I walk out really angry, scared, shaking, frustrated, because out of these two experiences that just like really, really got to me is the fact of how they would treat kids, a baby, a child, a young adult, who were underage. Like my cousin was telling me that they left my little baby cousin on the floor crying for who knows how long, because they were just arresting and handcuffing all the adults and messing up the place. And it was just like, how could you do that to a baby? Like, why would you leave a baby on the floor just crying? Like, don't you have a team that's supposed to take care of minors? And like, also for me and my other cousins who went through that, like, what? Was there no training? Was there no plan? And like, it was a mess, and it was just scary that people that I had been taught at school who are supposed to protect us suddenly like disturbed our home, our peace, for what? And hurt and traumatize me and my cousins for what? And I don't ever remember them saying, oh, sorry, like we were at the wrong house. Do you need some money for, you know, trauma care? Like it happened, and it seemed like life was fine afterwards for them. But what about us? So yeah, those are my stories. And I had some questions there, both that I would honestly love for you guys to give me some input, some answers of like the training you go through, like how and why situations like that happen, situations where you get the wrong house and possibly harm physically, emotionally, mentally the wrong person. And like, there's no wrong person. Like, I feel like it's unnecessary to especially harm somebody in any way. Like, it's not your job to have like to make the decision of what their punishment will be. It's not. And yeah, and like what do you use all that funding for? Especially at that time when I was 7, like, how did you get the wrong house? Like, how? And I know you probably don't have those specific answers, but like, how does that even happen? I know, and I've seen that I'm not the only story out there that these mistakes happened. And these aren't small mistakes. These are really big, impactful mistakes. And yeah, that's my story. Those are my questions.
Oh, yeah,
but like, yeah.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead if you had something else.
I was just going to say, regardless of these scary and traumatic stories and experiences, I still want to have faith in this relationship between the community and local law enforcement. I want to understand more and fix this issue and really understand our resources and what we have and what we can do to like make this better for all of us. And And again, thank you for being here and listening to my story and the rest of our stories. Okay, I'm done.
Elvia, thank you for sharing so much. I know it can be incredibly difficult to revisit some of those traumatic things that have happened, and to be vulnerable to share this, quite frankly, there's a lot of strangers on here for you, right? But I know you have the heart for impact, and I think your story is one that can really shed light on some of the traumatic things that happen in the community with folks, BIPOC folks, white folks, and law enforcement.